Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to the Magic in the Midwest podcast, the most magical podcast in the Midwest, starring your hosts, JB and Ashley Michaels. Wow, thanks, announcer. That was a really nice announcement of the hosts of this podcast. I'm JB Michaels, USA Today, best-selling author of many, many books that people enjoy. And check those out on MrMichaels.com. I'm joined here today by my more successful wife.
Oh, hello. I am Ashley Michaels.
I am Ashley Michaels is here. Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the 41 episode of the Magic in the Midwest podcast. We love doing this podcast. So please, you can actually support the podcast through magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com for is literally for $3 a month. You can support the podcast and get double the content, Ashley. Double.
Wow, what a deal.
Double. The JB
How
and
much?
Ash.
Double?
Doubles. So now that it's 41,
Doubles
you're going to
with an
have
S.
82 episodes.
Whoa.
Today. If you just go to bandcamp.com, search for Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com, $3, you get that many podcasts.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to hear
I
us
don't
talk
understand.
more?
I don't understand why you wouldn't, to be honest. Let's be real. You know.
It's we're the best.
So yes. Also, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all of those podcast platforms, Deezers. We just would love it if you could share the podcast as well, rate and review us. Show us some love because we love to talk to you guys. Honestly, that's one of the most fun parts about doing this podcast is engaging with the community and the people that like to talk about the podcast. So please reach out to us on Magic in the Midwest podcast at gmail.com. What are some other ways they could reach out to us? Facebook?
Facebook or Instagram. Our handle for both of those is Magic in the Midwest Podcast. So you can message us there, or did you say email already?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, and then that was the only one you said.
Right. That's the only one I said.
That is. Okay, so yeah, besides that, just the social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, also, we wear a lot of hats here, authors, accountants. I also help people with their insurance. Please, if you're paying too much for your insurance, or if you honestly have had your parents' agent that you never switched and you still have Allstate or State Farm or something.
And you want a really fun Disney-loving agent that can maybe get you a better deal.
Right.
Probably can.
Actually, we'll probably be able to get you a better quote, but honestly. So just reach out to JB, to me, at Magic in the Midwest podcast at gmail.com, or just try to get a hold of me in any other way. So through my
carrier pigeons,
pneumatic tube messaging. Send a message to our pneumatic tube system that we have.
Or you can call our new home phone line.
We have a home phone which I've determined I'm going to use.
For what?
I don't know. But I want to use it. It's actually kind of nice if I can't get a hold of you some other way, your phone died, I could still get a hold of you.
When has that ever happened?
It could happen.
I don't like that I can't ignore you and pretend that the phone died.
That's true. Now you'll be like, I called.
I don't feel like we should give the number out to anyone though. I don't want telemarketers.
No, we're not gonna just give the number out.
I don't even know what the number is.
I'll send you the.
Oh,
I'll send you the contact info.
That would be nice if I had the number to my own landline.
That would be nice if you knew that. So I'll give it to you. Don't worry.
You guys, we have 2 of them, and JB will call me from upstairs and say that I sound cute on the phone and ask me out and ask me if I'm married.
Right. That's the only reason I've used the phone so far, is for those reasons, which is ridiculous, but it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
What are you doing right now? You're not.
I'm trying to send you the
I
contact
don't think
info.
it's like super important that you do it right this
I
second.
guess it isn't. You're right. You're totally right, Ash. Okay, so today you guys are not here to hear us talk about randomness. Well, even though I think sometimes you are. We are actually excited because we are going to get back into Animal Kingdom. And Animal Kingdom, which I didn't realize it, Ash, but technically, because this is just a weird little quirk of Animal Kingdom, is that technically the Finding Nemo, the musical show building, is considered part of Dinoland.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird because you leave Dinoland. Like, it literally feels like you're leaving Dinoland. Like, you're out of the area with the big blue Apatosaurus or Brontosaurus or whatever, and you kind of walk into this like bridge area, and you could see Expedition Everest in the distance, and you walk across that bridge and you head into Asia. Well, if you look to your right, that's where the Finding Nemo, before the bridge, there's the Finding Nemo the musical show building.
Okay.
Which, I mean, they had to put it somewhere. I guess they had to put it under some.
So technically, it's in
closest.
Dinoland. Okay.
Yeah, it's closest to Dinoland USA. So when we did our Dinoland talk, I didn't include that.
Right.
Because I was like, why would I need to include this? I didn't think I needed to.
Now we're including it.
And now we're including it because we're technically leaving Dinoland USA and heading over to Asia. And it's called the Theater in the Wild. Okay.
Okay.
That was the original name for it because it used to have a Tarzan show, which is kind of neat. It was like a Tarzan musical show. And they had also like a Jungle Book show there as well for a while.
Cool.
But now they've got Finding Nemo, and basically it's a bunch of it's all puppetry. It's all puppeteers, moving the fish around the stage, which I think is kind of neat. It's a lengthy show.
How long is it?
It's 40 minutes.
Ooh, yeah.
So if you're, it's one of those things where if you're spending your entire day at Animal Kingdom, this would be a good spot to kind of go chill for a little bit.
Yeah.
Get out of the
heat, sit down in the air conditioning for a while.
Yeah, exactly. This amphitheater is huge and it fills a lot of people. So, I wonder
if it's mostly full or if it's something where you can pretty much get a seat and not have to wait for the next show.
It's still really popular.
Oh, it is. Okay.
So, like, if you walk past it and it's near a showtime, now it doesn't play. There's a limited amount of shows every day.
So it's not like it's like every 50 minutes or something like, there's a handful of showtimes.
Yeah, there's a handful of showtimes. So you would have to get in the line, I think, right? And sort of, basically, the Finding Nemo the musical is just a shortened version of the movie. So yeah. So that's still a popular thing. It's been around since 2007.
Okay.
January 2nd.
Is it open during the pandemic? COVID?
That's a really good question. If I check the park
seating.
map, it probably will tell me on the park map. So let me...
Just curious.
I would imagine it's not. If it is, it's very limited.
Just because if you think about how big it is, and like right now Disney's not doing like fireworks show, like nighttime shows and stuff like that. Not that that's what this is, but it's a lot of people in one spot.
It's not open right now. But when it does reopen, guys, it's there for you.
So have you seen it? Because I don't feel like we've seen it.
No, I've never seen it. I saw the original. I saw like the Tarzan show, I think.
How was that?
That was cool.
Yeah.
Tarzan's like swinging around the stage. It was neat. But yeah, no, it's not.
Okay.
And this also is a spot where you could go and across from the Theater in the Wild, across the walkway before the bridge is another spot where you could watch Rivers of Light.
Okay.
Which we'll talk about later today. Okay, so you head across that bridge over into Asia, and Asia is, I think, before Pandora, obviously, I think Asia was my favorite part of the park. Yeah.
Okay.
So it has the Caravan Stage Theater, the Maharaja Jungle Trek, which is embark on a self-guided walking tour of Southeast Asia, home to tigers, monkeys, bats, and a Komodo dragon. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Big, scary dragon that could eat you and kill you.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy? Like a dino. Like a dino from back in the day. A big carnivore.
Not our dino.
Not our dino. So Ash, Maharaja Jungle Trek, have you ever been on it?
No.
No? We've never walked it?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have. It's been a long time since I've done it. I think I did it maybe the first time I was at Animal Kingdom when it opened.
Yeah.
It was an opening day thing, I think.
I don't think we did it.
I'll be honest. I would encourage people who go to Animal Kingdom to, if you're up for it, if you have the legs, go on these like special walks that they have. Like, because it's actually really neat. I mean, they are really cool. They're kind of like mini hikes, like in a theme park.
Well, you know what? I think it's one of those things where people probably cross it off their list if they can't do everything because it's probably more time. And like you're just saying, you're already walking a lot if you're at a Disney park, and then this is just
especially at Animal Kingdom,
more walking. But it sounds really cool. I mean, if you're someone that frequents Disney, then this would be really cool, especially if you're staying somewhere like at Animal Kingdom Lodge, or kind of making it more of an Animal Kingdom
centric vacation. Yeah,
this would be a neat thing to do.
Actually, I will tell you this: like, it's cool. You kind of feel like you're Indiana Jones a little bit, walking through like these trails, and there's like these there's bamboo, and there's all these trees, and you're kind of walking through, and there's like some ruins, and then the tigers are like hanging out in the ruins, and they're huge. I mean, you get close to the tigers.
See, I don't know how I would feel about it.
You realize
I don't need to be anyone's snack.
You're not gonna
chubby snack.
You're not a chubby snack. No, I mean it's a legit cool experience, I think. So if you kind of want something a little different, and you're willing to do it, go on the Jungle Trek rather than just going from ride to ride to ride. That's part of the fun of Animal Kingdom, is that there are some different things you can do.
And I think that, we've talked about this before. Animal Kingdom definitely feels different, I think, to most people, more so than the other three parks to each other. Yeah. And so you should kind of lean into that.
Yeah.
And take advantage of these really cool experiences, because that's sort of one of the main purposes of this park.
Well, on the park map to Animal Kingdom, which is something that I don't think people even realize, because your brain sort of skips over it. But in every land on the park map, they actually have at the top, underneath Asia, underneath Africa, underneath not Pandora, because they don't have any animals over there. Real animals.
Go on.
Okay, so so the animal highlights are listed under each section of the park. So in Asia, you could see a tiger, which we've already talked about. You could see bats.
Ooh.
Like Indy. They're giant vampire bats, even though there's no such thing as giant vampire bats.
Sure, there are.
But Indy was like, remember Temple of Doom? She's like, oh my gosh, what are those? And he's like, they're giant vampire bats.
Yeah, I can't stand that one.
Yeah.
That girl.
You can't stand...
her character is annoying.
Yeah, Willie.
Yeah.
Willie. Okay, and then what I love is the one of the more fun and entertaining animals over here, which is right near Kali River Rapids, is the gibbon. The gibbon, those guys that just swing around all over the place. In that there's a big open area that they're allowed to just kind of swing around in. Really cool animal. The gibbon is a really neat one. The Komodo dragon, of course, is over here. Which, I wonder what they feed that thing. What do they feed the Komodo?
I don't think we should look it up.
Let's look it up. What do they feed the Komodo dragon? Anyway, and then they have lion-tailed macaques as well, and exotic birds.
Maybe they feed it
in Asia.
Annoying husbands.
Maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
Oof.
Let's go to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, Komodo dragons are legit.
I'll get
tough.
rid of you real
they're like
quick.
Tanks. Like, they're like scary. They'll eat your ass. So, anyway.
Let's move on.
Okay. So, Ashley,
Yes.
then one of the premier attractions, which I'm glad we're talking about, we're going to rate and review it right now, is Kali River Rapids, which you will get wet. It's called Travel Through the Turbulent Rivers of a Jungle Landscape on this wet raft ride. Okay, what do you think about Kali Riv?
I'm not a huge fan of this type of ride. You've seen whatever, it's like that tube, that circular big, where 10 people are
Raft.
sitting in that raft.
Big
tube.
circular, it's not a tube. I mean, I guess there is a tube. At the bottom of it.
A raft.
A raft. Raft.
I don't love these types of rides in general. I'm pretty sure you and I have been on it one time, and that's it. And the reason for that is, even if it's super hot, I don't love to be soaking wet. Splash Mountain, you get a little wet. This, you get soaked, probably. There's a chance that you won't, but
there is a chance that you won't get that
you'll
wet.
You'll likely be under a waterfall at one point, like just your specific part in the raft.
I will say that this river raft ride, is not as egregiously ridiculous as Popeye's Blue Nose Bilge Rat Barges in Universal, in Islands of Adventure.
I've never been on that.
If you go on that ride, you would hate it. They literally just like squirt water at you. They just don't care. They literally just get you wet no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
There's a little bit more of suspense in Kali River Rapids.
I know that everyone listening knows that I'm like a grump, but I feel like in my 20s, I wouldn't have, I didn't mind as much than walking around being, but being in Florida when it's super hot and humid, you almost like never dry off.
Yeah.
I don't mind those rides in the Midwest. If it's summertime.
Yeah, no, of course.
To me, it's kind of like just those rides all seem the same to me. So when I go to Disney, I don't really want to go on, like if we go with your family and they're like, oh, we're going to go do this, I'll be like, I don't need to.
Yeah.
I don't need to do this.
Yeah, no.
I'm just more discerning as I get older and crabbier.
You are definitely crabbier.
I love Jungle Cruise. You can get wet on the Jungle Cruise a little bit. Splash Mountain, you're going to get more wet than on the Jungle Cruise. And that's all great. It's a little
Jungle
splash.
Cruise, you get a little spray.
It's a little...
I don't know if you get wet.
I've gotten wet on that ride.
Jungle Cruise?
I feel like the seats are always wet. My jeans are wet when I stand up. And it's wet. Why is that funny?
I just never thought of Jungle Cruise as a... Do you think it's a water ride?
No, I don't think it's a water ride.
Okay.
Don't sit
I don't know,
here
I'm
on
just
the
saying.
podcast in front of everyone and try.
I can't believe she said she gets wet on the Jungle Cruise.
I have. It doesn't matter if it's a splash
By the way,
or not.
I can't wait for that movie, but with The Rock.
Am I allowed to finish?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep
whatever.
going.
I don't see what's appealing about waiting for this ride. I just don't.
Okay, I know what's appealing about waiting for this ride. The queue is awesome. The queue is awesome for Kali River Rapids.
I don't care if the queue is awesome if the ride isn't fun.
Okay, so I'm gonna riff off that because I think you make good points. The Kali River Rapids.
I always do.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you don't. Kali River Rapids is super short. Like, it's also not a raft ride that's very long at all. I feel like it was like rushed And I feel like they just never bothered to do anything else with it.
I think it's all that fits in that area. I feel like when I'm waiting for that ride, I'm just like, okay. I mean, come on.
It's really...
I would really only do it if Harrison really wanted to do it. If you really wanted to do it, I'd say no. And if Harrison really wants to, you can take him.
Oh my gosh.
I'll go on Everest real quick again.
You better...
I mean, tell me though.
Get us a Coke.
No.
Yeah.
Everest and Kali River Rapids. I'm sorry. Is there a comparison between those two rides?
No. I agree with you there. I'm not. I
mean, compare Kali River Rapids to any other ride in the park.
True. Yeah.
It's just like one of those raft rides that you always see at every theme park.
There is a really neat like deforestation element to it, right? Where like this big fires happened and like there's smoke and some cool effects. But other than that, like it's just sort of you go around on the raft and then you go down this pretty decent incline, waterfall or decline, and you hit the water and like one side of the raft like overflows. Like it's always one side gets really nailed and the other side's not that bad. So yeah, I mean it's definitely not the
I'm
best.
Always on the side that gets hit with the water. I think the best part of that ride is the 10 other people that you're with, or 9 other people you're with.
Because they kind of laugh and you're like,
kind
who's
of
going to
like,
get wet?
Yeah, and everyone's, you can
like,
see the family dynamic of someone getting wet in another family and them all laughing because it's the person they think it's going to be, and you're kind of sharing this experience. But
which is what
the experience is bad and not worth it.
I'm not as harsh on Kali River Rapids as Ashley.
I'm sorry. Walk into Animal Kingdom. Are you like, oh my gosh, let's go on to Kali River Rapids? No, nobody is. And if you are, stop listening.
Whoa.
I'm just kidding.
Whoa. No, Kali River Rapids fans, you could keep listening. I love you too. I love you. Ash doesn't.
I don't.
No, she doesn't. She's very judgy.
No, some of my coworkers listen to this podcast, and they all are trying to convince me how great Frozen 2 is, and I will not budge.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm not going to budge on that either.
It's just not.
It's not great.
The plot is a mess.
What is the plot?
How could you like it?
What
is happening?
Well, weren't you watching the making of it, and even the test audiences were like, we don't even know what's going on. The test audiences were like, what is the point of this
that was
movie?
earlier in the series, but
Yeah, I
think they
still
probably
don't think they
made
really
improvements, but
fixed anything.
I think with the time frame they had and everything else, I think if you look at it as a sequel, it's okay. It's a sequel.
As a movie, it's not. It's boring. I was bored. I was super bored.
I mean, I think of it as like if it had gone not in the theater. This is just like another Frozen thing. To me, it ruined the characters. It ruined the first one. Like,
well, I'm just going to pretend Frozen 2 didn't happen in my mind because Frozen 1 was so excellent. But we are way off topic.
I think they should have just left it.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
Sorry, yeah. Way to get off topic, you idiot. Okay, so
my point is,
Kali River Rapids. Shut up.
I'm not going to change my mind.
Kali River, you know what I deal with now, co-workers.
Oh, okay. No.
Anyway,
one of us is way more stubborn than the other.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you are.
No.
Yeah.
No, guys.
Okay, so...
I'm just a better movie critic.
Whatever.
Ranger, you've lost all credibility. That was maybe the worst 2 hours of my life.
That was a good movie.
Oh, my God.
All right, so... What do you rate Kali River Rapids? You must give it a 4? A 3? Wow, you went even lower than a 4. Okay, so Ash gives it a 3. She dislikes this ride. It might be her most disliked ride in all of Walt Disney World.
And it's not that it's bad. It's just, I don't know. It's not thrilling. It's not fun for me. People that love water rides and, the thrill of not knowing who's going to get soaked, it's fun. You know, and when I was younger, I enjoyed these rides more.
You guys tell us if you like Kali River Rapids. Tell us.
I think there are people that like it. I think that most people will be indifferent towards it.
Right. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people go to the parks and just do every major attraction, and especially at Animal Kingdom, you can do that, and
Right.
this would be one of
Right.
those.
Yeah.
And some people just don't mind being super soaked when there's 97% humidity,
They don't.
and some people do.
Yeah.
And I am one of the people that do mind.
Right. Yes. Well, that's fine. That's fine.
It is fine. Doesn't make me a monster.
So you're giving it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 6, only because I still think it's fun. There's still fun to be had. Like you said, Ash, the suspense of like who's gonna get nailed with the overflowing water from one side.
I don't need the suspense. I know
Raft.
it's gonna be me.
Right.
And then JB is like,
Well, sure.
go feed you to the dragon.
Yeah, that's true. The dragon is probably walking around there.
Maybe it's in the water.
No, the Komodo dragons don't go in the water.
You never know.
Okay. So
Could you have
gators
been
do.
any more snotty?
Gosh, they don't go in the water. Do they?
Yeah, you don't even
Hey,
know.
Rose, do
Our dragon's
We have a
big.
dragon in our house.
It's a bearded dragon.
How you doing, Rose?
And our son tells his class that we have a pet dragon that we keep in the backyard, even though she is inside
the house.
in a tank.
Right, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, so now Expedition Evs, the premier attraction, and for many years, the premier attraction.
9 rating.
Wait, what are you? I'm trying to like do things.
Okay, let's
Okay,
in
an order. Gosh. Okay, Expedition Everest, Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. Okay, so before we go real deep dive into it, guys, Asia itself is a really cool like mixture. I think it's really more Southeast Asia and South Asia. There's a lot of Indian-inspired architecture and Southeast Asian-inspired architecture. Also Nepalese, right? Nepal. Technically, the whole area by Expedition Everest is called Circa Zong. Okay, basically that means like one of those towns that people are in when they're in the Himalayas, and if they're obviously if they're trying to make a climb up Mount Everest or something, that is this area is typical of what you would find in Nepal. It's just sort of a I think a really good way to kind of bring you into this world that you really you're in Central Florida. You're not most people are not going to be able to make it to Nepal or the Himalayas or Mount Everest like itself, right? The actual Mount Everest. So Disney brings it to you. But if you look around and you look at all the different things, there's prayer flags hanging. There is, there's just the mountain itself. Everest is the tallest point in Disney. And it's huge. The mountain is huge. And it's beautiful, especially at night. It's lit up really, really well at night. This area of Asia, right, I just think is a really cool spot. It's not very, it really isn't very big as far as the walkway. I mean, you sort of just, it's like the river's right there, the Rivers of Light Amphitheater's right there, and you're sort of like just a walkway to the Expedition Everest entrance for the queue, and then the store, the Circa Zong Bazaar, right there as well. So it's really, so you sort of have like an Indian, then like Himalayan type feel in Asia. So it's really kind of a cool, I think it's really great. So let's deep dive into, for many years, was the premier attraction of Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Right? I think this opened in 2003 or 2000, something like that.
I don't know.
We'd have to look specifically. But anyway, so Expedition Everest, you guys. Legend of the Forbidden Mountain. You have to be 44 inches to ride this ride.
Our son is now tall enough.
Right. You can ride
Can't wait to jam him on there.
ride a speeding train through the Himalayan mountains while avoiding the Yeti.
You're going to tell the story? I think we have probably before, but I think you should tell it really fast.
What?
About
Your mom.
Yeah.
So the first ride we went on our trip in 2019.
Was it the first ride we went on?
It was the first ride. Yes. The first roller coaster ride in Animal Kingdom. First ride in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. Not first on the trip.
On the trip.
You idiot.
No, definitely not the first on the trip.
Obviously, at the time, Harrison was not tall enough to go on the ride, and so we split up. Me and my dad went on the ride while JB and my mom waited back with Harrison, then we switched.
Yeah.
And you should tell the rest.
Okay, so me and Ash's mom get on the roller coaster, and I don't think not only your dad wasn't prepared for Everest, nor was your mom, because it's intense. Like, it's a really intense
real
ride.
quick side thing. So when Dad and I went on it first, we're walking up to it, and he's all about it. I remember going on roller coasters with my dad when we were younger, and you see the part where people are coming down. Like, they come out of the mountain, they're going down the big drop.
Yeah.
But you can kind of only see the bottom part of it, and you could, there's a big loud noise of the roller coaster and people screaming, and, so he can see that as they're walking up, and I'm like, it's not exactly, like, not intense, Dad. And he's like, no, it's fine. So we wait in line, and we get up there, and I remember just laughing on the ride. We were just like, Dad was like, oh my gosh, as we're like stopped, and then all of a sudden it's dark, and you're flying all around. You see everyone's heads bobbling in front of you. And we get off the ride, or the ride comes in, and he's like, that was more intense than I realized.
Yeah. So basically that similar thing happened. Back, Ashley's mom literally did not anticipate, how intense the ride was. And she had not been on a roller coaster in probably a couple decades, maybe even more.
Probably.
Maybe 30 years almost was the last time this woman was on a roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we go on the roller coaster, and, I don't think she quite knew how to position herself in the ride. I think when she got on the ride, she was tense, and she was, like, leaning forward, like, intense, like, gripping it and, like, going like this, like, hunching your shoulders a little bit. Well, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to sit up and kind of keep your head controlled.
Yeah.
Right. Not all the way back on the rest, but keep it controlled up, right?
You're supposed to have it back in the headrest.
You can have it back on the headrest, but then it'll bounce a little bit. So you gotta kind of give yourself a little leeway.
All right, guys, here's JB, the roller
give yourself
coaster
a little leeway.
Headrest expert.
Headrest experts. The headrest experts. Where headaches come true. What? Sorry. Anyway, so don't look at me like that. With your crooked smile and your face.
You love it.
There's nothing about your face that I like. Okay.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. You're a great face.
Too bad.
So Everest opened in April of 2006.
Did you finish the story, or?
No, I did not. So we're on the ride because you distracted me.
Focus.
We're on the ride, and the head situation wasn't great with Ashley's mom. And then when we get on the ride and we're going down the hills, I see her sort of really struggling, because now her head's like, basically gravity has thrown her head to the side, but not like onto the headrest, but just over the side of the like it's like this, like leaning back that way.
She can't regain
head control.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh my God, I just killed my mother-in-law. Like, I brought her on a ride.
Her head's gonna roll
and
off.
It's gonna roll off. It's just gonna fall off. Like, I was like, I like literally looked over. She did not have head control. And I was like, I can't help her. Like, I was like, what am I gonna do? I can't do anything. So
you could have reached over like I did with Harrison.
I tried.
You did?
But no, the way the Everest is set up, you can't really. It's not.
Oh, is it the thing that
comes
top?
over you?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Yes, it is. So I was a little.
Is it?
Yes, it is. So
shut up.
It is. So basically, I was just, helpless, as was her mother. But luckily, she survived. Everything was okay. But it was really scary and terrifying when I saw her just sort of lean over with her head sort of just like, it was a little scary.
And to piggyback off of that real quick, my mom after going on that ride, and then we went on Rock and Roller Coaster, obviously on a different day, or maybe it was that night, thinks that Rock and Roller Coaster is less intense than Everest. And I think it was because, you know, you kind of just fly forward in Rock and Roller Coaster, and, like, she didn't really have the opportunity to lose head control.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what it was about for her.
Well, I will tell you this. So Expedition Everest, I think, is one of the best Disney Imagineering, attractions, coasters, ever. Not only from the queue, right? In the queue, you sort of get like this background story of these people that have climbed.
Not over the top.
Yeah, it is over the top.
No, it's not. Look,
it is.
It's not.
Okay, maybe it isn't.
It's on Rock and Roller Coaster.
Maybe her head would have been more controlled if she had one of those things.
So it's not. You're like, it's wrong.
Whatever. So it's just a lap bar, apparently. Are you sure that's an updated picture? I think they added the...
No. Stop.
I think they might have added...
Stop!
You should double check, Ash.
This is from 2020. There's a picture of someone with a mask on.
Okay, here we go. So like, is it possible to have a mask before 2020? Is that what you're saying?
They're all wearing
whatever. Masks. Okay.
It's possible, but...
So you go... so you go through... And there's this great storyline of these people, and then, like, as you get further on in the queue, which, by the way, there's these really great spots in the queue.
Queue is amazing.
You could throw, like, pennies into, and there's, like, these prayer flags and, like, shrines and really cool things that are, traditions in Asia, in Nepal. So you go through, and then, of course, as you go further into the line, you get closer to the train, there's like Yeti imprints and like the story of like these sightings of this Yeti, and like this creature, like what is it, right? So there's this like lore that gets built up, and if you're paying attention to the queue, which many people don't, but if you're looking at all those cool artifacts and like the foot imprint that they have of the Yeti and like all the pictures and the documentation of this expedition that is lost, and you're trying to go find to see what happened to these people. And you go through, you get on the train, and you go through that cool, as you're going up the mountain, you go into that little temple with the Yeti, with all the prayer, like the candles and everything, which I think is really neat.
It is cool.
Such a great foreshadowing, right, of what's to come. And then you get up to the top, and the train the rails are bent.
Okay, two things.
Right?
One, if you've been on this ride, and you probably have, you'll notice the abundant amount of hair ties that are up there, because it just randomly started.
Yeah.
Someone put a hair tie up there, and then everyone started doing it. So now it's like a hair tie thing where everyone puts their hair ties up there.
Little things happen?
And if you're, wanting to be a little afraid, you should check out on YouTube, there are pictures or videos of what that part of the ride is like when the part of the track that's split, that looks like it's, messed up and ripped off, is like added on to the end of the actual track.
Yeah.
And when that is not there, and your roller coaster gets to the top, you are just like on the edge of the highest point.
Yeah.
You literally it's just straight down.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So like that little added track that's like a fake track, right? That's split. It helps you feel a little bit more safe, because there's like something that kind of goes up in front of you. But there are times when they have to take that down. And people have videotaped it, and you're just like sitting at the edge, and the track just stops.
It's awesome.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's really neat.
Your cousin got stuck up there. Didn't they get stuck up there for like a long time?
I think so. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. Cool place to get stuck, to be honest.
Yeah.
So there used to be this cool, that you get to that point where the track is bent up and there's nowhere else for you to go. You're like, what the heck? What are we doing? And then, of course, there used to be this big bird. Sometimes the bird's there, sometimes not, which is a bird from the Himalayas, this big brown bird, which my dad makes fun of. Because it just, like, floats there. It's like this kind of cheesy effect of a brown bird that comes up right by where the trail, the rail line ends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it used to come. It used to, like, caulk and everything.
Maybe I haven't.
It would like fly up. I don't know if they even have it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Just like everything.
So it basically like, Dad was always really funny. Me, T-Bone, and Dad were on the ride, and Dad was like, "Oh no, it's the brown bird," like making fun of the bird, and we just start dying. Dad has just done some really inappropriate things on that ride, which I'm not going to speak of.
We're definitely not going to speak of that. Do not.
Funny.
That part is fine.
I mean, that was the brown bird is just really, really funny. So anyway, so then you don't know what's happening, right? And all of a sudden, you're pulled.
Which way are you pulled?
Another direction.
Which direction?
Okay, a reverse direction.
What's reverse?
Reverse direction.
Backwards.
Okay, and you're pulled. Literally, what's amazing about this ride is it switches tracks in the middle of the ride. Okay, so you're literally go from one track.
More than once.
Yeah,
right?
and you switch to another track. Yeah. So, what a brilliant piece of engineering. All inside of a mountain. You can't see it, right? It's pretty neat. So, you're pulled in reverse, okay, into the mountain itself. And you hear this roar because something is pulling you, right?
Backwards.
No, reverse. Okay?
Which is backwards.
No, reverse. So,
backwards.
No.
But you can say reverse. It's the same.
Yes, you're pulled backwards. You're pulled backwards. The ride doesn't go in reverse, but you're pulled backwards by the
And now the ride is going backwards.
No, stop it. Okay, so anyway.
You've been wrong about everything about this ride so far. From it being a lap bar to backwards.
You're pulled backwards.
Backwards being the operative word.
Right. And whatever, fine. I don't care. I still want to hear you talk over. And of course you're like, oh my gosh, and then you keep going. You're in the dark at this point, going backwards, and you really you're doing it for a long time. Like you're like, oh my gosh, and you keep going, and you're like, wow, this is insane. You don't know what's happening. Then of course you go forwards again, and you see that the Yeti is attacking the rail line and pulling up the rails of the coaster. So then you fly forwards again. Okay, you go through this amazing, hairpin turns, and you go through, you do a lot of drops, and you do a high speed, roller coaster adventure through the mountain until you get to the end of it, and you see the giant Yeti reaching out to you and wanting to get you, right? So it's get out of my mountain, right? Get off my mountain. Get off my mountain. And, the ride is amazing. I didn't realize
that the Yeti sounded like Harrison Ford.
Get off my plane. Yeah.
That would be a nice touch.
It would be. Get off my mountain.
Not only that the Yeti could speak English, but it sounds like Harrison Ford.
That's right.
That's right, Disney. Free ideas.
That's right. Free ideas here at Disney.
We've literally talked about two things.
Right, I know.
42 minutes.
I know. I don't know what's happening today. All right, so Expedition Everest comes out to rave reviews. Everyone loves it. The only issue is when the Yeti used to work, you guys, it used to actually physically move and reach out and grab you and roar, and its mouth moved. It was amazing. It was like the coolest audio animatronic ever. But they made him so powerful that he cracked the foundation of the ride, the cement foundation, so they just don't turn him on anymore.
That's why I gave it a 9 instead of a 10.
Right.
That's the only reason.
Right. Okay, so you give it a 9.
I give it a 9. The queue is amazing. It's one of my favorite queues on property. The ride itself is, to me, it was the first roller coaster, quote unquote, that I went on that was more than just a roller coaster.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole story. It's amazing.
It surprises you, and it surprises you, not just the first time you go on it. Like, I remember, real quick side story, our niece, this was a few years back, was just sort of kind of getting into roller coasters a little bit, and she had asked me, she knew that it went backwards and that it was dark and stuff, and I was actually answering her honestly when she asked me how long that part was from my actual memory of the ride, which was only like once or twice before, and I really, as an adult without a child at that time, didn't really think about things in those terms, and I didn't really think it went backwards or was in the dark for very long, when in reality that's a huge part of the ride.
Yeah, totally.
So I kind of convinced her to go on. And when we got off the ride, she was, understandably a little
upset with you.
Yeah, I feel like, not like mad, like she was super mad at me, but she didn't trust what I was going to say anymore, which I get. And I felt so bad because I was like, oh my gosh, this is just more intense than I remembered.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it kicks your butt. It's a good ride.
It's great. It's great.
Really a fantastic ride.
Because you're used to, like, you click, you go up the roller coaster, then you go down, the big drop, and then you kind of go through other things. That is not how this ride goes.
No, it's unconventional in many ways, honestly. Mm-hmm. So, really a great ride. Definitely highly recommended. And if you go to, it's a must-do attraction at Animal Kingdom, absolutely.
Yes, and I definitely would say, the height requirement speaks to this, but Big Thunder is less intense. Definitely. This is getting to be the more more intense roller coaster. Yeah. This isn't the one you want to put your kid on first, I don't think. If you have a really,
Well, here's the other. Yeah, I would. Yeah, it's intense. It's a kick butt ride.
And I think that's what my parents were thinking, like, we're in Disney. How intense could it really be? They were thinking, like, Big Thunder, whatever, and that's not really the case here.
No, it is a mountain of a ride. It is a kick butt ride. So, I would encourage you to, when you're in line for Everest, really take it in. Because Joe Rohde and his team of Imagineers, they went to Nepal, they went to India, they went to these places. A lot of what you see is stuff that they actually brought back from Asia and they put on display. So they bought stuff there and they brought it back, and a lot of the wood and the way it's all treated, and it's like indicative of what it actually does look like there, and the just how old everything is. Here in America, it's a pretty young, it's young, right? There's still some old things, but not as nearly as old as like things in Asia, right? So it's really incredibly themed, incredibly detailed, and I would encourage you to kind of take all of that in, right? Because the Imagineers and the people that made this area, they really we talk about highly themed and highly detailed lands. I don't think Asia's any different. I think it's super detailed like any other.
Oh yeah.
Totally. What I mean? Like, it really is. If you think about it, Animal Kingdom is I think as detailed as like Galaxy's Edge and I think there's just an incredible attention.
I think it's arguably one of the more detailed places on property.
Right. Yeah. So I would definitely take it all in and enjoy it, right? And there's some great picture opportunities by Everest, especially at night. The whole area is beautiful. And on Disney Plus, there's that sunrise, and one of the sunrise things is at Animal Kingdom, but I think there might be another one that actually, I think it does switch over to Everest as well, and kind of shows you both Tree of Life and Everest. Because really, they're two iconic things that I think.
Totally.
Yeah. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, anything else, Ash, to add? No. I give Everest a 9 as well, right? If that Yeti was working, it'd be a 10 plus. But
10 plus.
10 plus.
10 plus what?
10 plus.
Great.
Yes. Okay, so please rate and review us at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Deezer, wherever you guys listen to us. We would really appreciate that. Share the podcast. Share the love. We really would love that because it really helps us. Really helps us. It just does. So, anything else to add, Ashley?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com, where you can subscribe for as little as $3 a month.
Whoa, what a steal.
That is like, 80 cents a week? Almost. Little under. A little over. 60 cents a week.
80 cents a week, give or take.
66 cents.
Let's
33,
sign off.
33 cents a week. No. Anyway, sorry, I'm just being stupid now. All right.
How many weeks do you think there are?
From the Midwest. See you later.